Hi, I'm Shirley Desai, the founder and host of SPICE, which stands for South Asian and Global Perspectives in Cinema and Entertainment. I'm here in Austin, Texas with MYC Agnew, who's my coach and mentor. So with that, I'd like my teleprompter device.
And this is the part where you're going to do the opening monologue and talk about me the whole time?
Yeah. Joining us today is a true heavyweight in the film industry with over 30 years of experience. As the head of Liquid Lit Productions, he is a veteran writer, director, and producer who has become a major fixture at global stages like Cannes and American Film Market. His influence stretches across every corner of the business. He leads MYC Consulting, focused on project development and diary management, where he oversees talent and crew. He is also the creator of the reality feature and the mind behind the New Hollywood Deal and the Metropolitan Society, a premier mixer for film, fashion, and music. But he brings more than just technical expertise to the table. He has a deep-rooted history with style. Before his decades behind the lens, he was a world-class model for Versace, Mugler, and Tommy Hilfiger, and he served as a real-life inspiration for the character Hansel in the movie Zoolander. From managing high-level film trade to understanding the global language of style, he knows exactly what it takes to make an impact on today's industry. Please welcome MYC Agnew.
Hi everybody, thanks for having me here on Spice.
Welcome to Spice. I'm Shirley Desai, the host of South Asian and Global Perspectives in Cinema and Entertainment. I'm here today with MYC Agnew, a very accomplished professional in the media field. MYC, it's nice to see you today.
Thank you very much, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we're both here in Austin at South by Southwest. How are you enjoying it?
South by Southwest is a blast. I was at the Netflix Peaky Blinders party and I got this amazing wool English hat. I'm going to give it to my dad, but I thought it'd be cool to have here just to kind of get the vibe for everyone to see.
Yeah, the Netflix vibe, all the vibes.
Yeah.
I wanted to start with a very serious question.
Okay.
You actually had a life-altering gunshot incident, and now you've built a multifaceted career. How did that impact you?
Well, okay. You really went for the jugular right off the bat. So the gunshot wound was an accident. It was during my 10 years of charity. It happened in a music studio. It went through my arm, chest, lung, liver, off my hip, and into my spine. I died. I did go to the hospital. I came out the other side. I feel like I saw something, and that's kind of a foundational place for me. So the gunshot wound is probably one of the most important things that's ever happened to me. But to be honest, I'm a lot older now, and other things have happened that have kind of shown me that same message, and it even happened earlier in my life. So overall, the gunshot wound is kind of the story that people go, wow, what was that like, or how'd that happen? But the real message there is, I'm someone living in this life knowing there's something after. That's really the impact in my life and my career.
That's profound. I think a lot of people would want to know that, actually.
Yes, I'm glad to know it. In fact, when I was there on the other side, I said, I gotta go back.
Oh, really?
And when I did it, my hands weren't there, but they were there. And this is a little, you'll have to just bear with me if you don't quite understand. My figure was there, my flesh was not. And the thing that made me so happy is I realized, wow, if you have a soulmate, you can hold their hand. I thought that was the coolest thing. So, yeah, I came back.
You came back. Well,
Yeah.
I'm very glad you came back.
Yeah, thank you.
Full disclosure, I am a client of MYC, and he's been really extraordinary in his coaching. One thing that impressed me is his consciousness, where he thinks something and then he does it, and it happens for him. And so he expressed to me how he got started in the entertainment industry, and I wanted to see if you could share that.
Well, it's funny you say that, because when people ask me when I started, I say I started when I was 15 years old, because it's when I took on the first responsibilities of actually creating. So signing your art, creating, owning up to it. And I had an original name, and then I gave myself an artist name, which is MYC. And originally that name meant mind your conscience. And it was always about being present and being mindful of what's going on around you. Kind of like we have to do in the set so we don't trip over lights and stuff. But that applies everywhere. And then it's funny you mentioned the different things that I do, and that you in fact are a client of mine under one of the umbrellas. And that hat, you know, we have the hat here, I have multiple hats. That hat, the consultants, I think everything that I do for others, I did for myself when I was starting out. So I was 15 years old and I said, have your own identity, you know, figure out what it is you want to do and go do it. And even after I booked my first film, I took off to Paris to go, I was like, I'll just go be a famous model to help the movie. I think that's what they call conceive, believe, achieve, right?
Conceive, believe, and achieve.
Yeah, and I of course didn't invent that, but anything along my path that I feel like is worthy information, I carry that forward, and I acknowledge that there's so many great lessons out there, and we have to find them all and share them with each other, right? And yeah, and I wear a lot of hats. I still want to put this on, I love it. I don't know if it'd work with the lights, but I think I can make it look good.
You spent 10 years working on studying, writing, and performing music for film. Now, looking at filmmaking today, how do you approach integrating music around and sound into your projects? Do you curate your music? Do you create your own music? Do you work with collaborators?
I am intelligent enough to know that there's always someone better out there. And in the film industry, it's beautiful because it's collaborative. So even though I definitely will use myself or my own music, that's usually lower budget projects where, you know, I don't want to bother someone with, you know, hey, help me out on this thing, like especially in the beginning. I think in the beginning of our career, we should do our own stuff as much as we can, because it just cuts costs and it helps us move forward without needing someone else's permission. I have a partner, Dr. Chandler Bridges. He works at a very high level in the music industry in Hollywood, but also in the universities. And one of the main things we've been doing on the music side is looking for other artists and helping them get their start. So I did 10 years of charity from 98 to 2008, and that's when I studied music. I had a charity band, MYC of Soul. The band was sponsored by Gibson Guitars, and we raised money for Macy Gray's M. Gray Music Academy.
Oh, wow.
We just put a little bit of money together to help the inner city kids get into those kind of expensive classes. And she was, you know, absolutely all about that. So Macy Gray, kudos to her, shout out. As a final statement about music, it is so important in film. And because you have the effects track for sound, you have the score, you have the music supervisor, that alone is 3 different people. So we can't do it all. In the beginning, do as much as you can and settle. Those are reality features. We'll get to that, I'm sure. But in the more professional world of feature film creation, you know, more is more. The more people you have, the more the production value is going to go up. So obviously, what I'm saying is, anytime in music, we need a whole orchestra, because, you know, we need everything we can get our hands on. That's how I feel about music.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Music is a very deeply personal thing for me too. So I really appreciate your feedback on that.
Great.
So you talked about modeling a little bit. It's been a place that helped you become more famous. So how did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it tremendously. Modeling, if you're lucky enough to get to do it, which, by the way, there was a very long line of people at every casting, and it was always a bit overwhelming to be the guy that was getting picked while others weren't. Nobody was prettier than someone else. It's just, I think, more of a community, an artist vibe. People went into that business for different reasons. I was strictly there to help a film that I had starred in, to get all these NYU graduates who did their first film. I wanted to help their film. They were sending it to Angelica. Sure enough, 3 years later, the film was at Angelica in New York, and I was in New York. I was somewhat famous from the modeling, and it really helped the team. It really helped get everybody to go watch the film, especially in New York, because people knew me there. Fame in modeling. I think the women were very famous. I think the men just were very, you had to say you were lucky. You know, even if there was something about me that was very skilled, like I was an actor on camera, so I knew how to play characters, I knew my light, but I always felt very lucky. And in fact, just to share a little bit, there was Lele Giop. He was my best friend. He's passed away now. He was the head booker at Elite in Milan, and he booked the Big Five, Cindy Crawford, Linda Evangelista, and all them. And I was basically the little brother to all of these amazing women. And thanks to him and me being lucky, I got to have all that fun, all that experience, working with and being friends with all of the top people of the day. And that was the late 90s. So if you're looking for me out there, that was pre-archived material on the internet.
Was there something about the experience of modeling that made you feel more creative or express yourself?
I think when someone hands you an outfit and says, make this cool, you got to do something. And models, they know their looks, or they listen to the art director or the photographer. And me, I definitely was like, well, I'm a character, I'm Marlon Brando wearing a trench coat and I'm in a dark alley. And I really took on characters. And so I think that's why I was very good at the job, because I literally couldn't stop doing looks for the camera to take a picture of, because I was living out the moment in front of all these people.
Kind of like method acting.
Yes. And just acting in general is really the truth of it. No matter what way you go about your acting, if you're in a character instead of just a guy wearing clothes, it's going to make a big impact on how much movement you have.
Great. Speaking of commercials, in your career, you appeared in national commercials that aired during major events like the Super Bowl and World Series. What was that experience like?
I tell this to my clients. When fame happens, it's not you, it's other people's perception. So that turned out to be something that did raise my fame, a few different commercials. But one that comes to mind was called The Diner. I think it was a Dodge commercial. A dude walks into a restaurant and there's a woman waitress and they like each other. But the father, who's the chef at the diner, doesn't. But the guy doesn't care. He goes outside, he hooks up his Dodge vehicle truck to the diner and pulls off. But it left the father behind because the kitchen was in the back. And it also left the toilet behind, and then the water spewed out. It was a really funny commercial, and I liked it. It was like a little movie. So that was pretty cool. And that was either in the World Series and or the Super Bowl. And a lot of people saw it.
What was your role in that?
I'm the lead guy. I'm always the guy, like that's what you get hired for in the commercials. It's like after being a lead in movies and being a famous model, the agents, that would be the only role I would go for, the hero.
Oh, that's nice.
I did during those 10 years of charity though, try to hide myself more and more and more, because I really wanted to be behind the camera. And a lot of people want to be in front of the camera, which is fine. Like I said, I was very lucky.
I think that one friend asked me before, do you want to be in front of the camera or behind the camera?
Look, if people want to put you in front of the camera, why not? If you can handle it. I have a lot of ailments, a lot of things that held me back. Lee Daniels was my manager in New York, and I really had big opportunities to do big movies. And I would go to my auditions and I would be lackluster compared to how I was in rehearsal. And what we found out later is I actually have a disease, and that disease was affecting me. And it was Kinoflow lights and the pressure. And so whenever I'd work for directors that I liked, I'd do a great job, I was relaxed, no stress. We were already on set, there was no audition, there was no Kinoflow lights to throw me off. But I think in general, I loved all those directors, and I love being behind the scenes and helping those directors find their way to get to have their voices heard. I think that's my favorite thing, is helping people have their voices heard.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I read that during the filming of Zoolander, your hairstyle was actually the inspired look for Owen Wilson.
It was a lot more than that. So
Oh, yeah?
in the Tommy Hilfiger campaign, I think in your opening monologue you mentioned
Yeah.
a few of the things I did, Versace, Terry McGlair, and Tommy Hilfiger. And Tommy Hilfiger was a big part of how this all transpired.
Oh.
It was the last day of Hilfiger. I met a friend. Me and that friend decided we wanted to have a good time in LA because I was from New York. He let us stay So I got a room an extra night, and he's like, you can have another night out here, and I did that. And then the next day we met the guys, Adam Sandler and Ben Stiller, at an early breakfast. And I guess that's when they found out how silly and entertaining a top male model can be. Yeah, so it wasn't just the hair, but for the interview, let's just say it was the hair.
Now we come to some of the more exciting parts of your experiences.
That wasn't exciting? I guess I didn't tell the whole story.
No, not that. You started your first film alone.
The
only thing to fear is yourself.
Yeah, that was the first film I created
Yeah.
myself, and that was so future film creators could have a pathway to creating a feature film that would go to festivals. But it's made at such a low budget that you wouldn't go to sell that. But you could get all your acting experience, your filming experience, your lighting, your sound, everything could basically give yourself your own education. And I think I did that right around when the internet was really teaching people stuff. So it's a really valid system nowadays, like AI can walk you through brain surgery. But back then you kind of had to either go to a school or have a mentor, and I created a path, and the proof of concept of that path was alone. The only thing to fear is yourself. And that path was you can do it yourself, but you had to get enough money together, less than $3,000, get yourself one camera, which was the digital cameras of today's age, 1080p, get yourself one lens and get yourself one light, and go and make a movie about something you know. And the reality feature that I knew was how to be alone and get over it and get over my own fear. So I wanted to share that with everyone. How do you get over your own fear and find your way in life?
So it's like people should pick something that they know about or care about, and if they're starting out, and develop a $3,000 feature film or short film.
Well, in my case, it's a feature film.
Okay.
Short reality features are $300. If you're spending more than $300, you're not really learning. You're trying to do something you're not capable of yet. When you understand that you're already limited and you need to work within the limitations but make the most out of it as possible, raise the production value, that's teaching you other lessons, right? So I have a ball of wax. No, I don't. I have a little man or a dinosaur. I could shape that into whatever. So we have to shape our environment when we don't have nothing. It's the constraints of nothingness that can give us everything.
Give you a lot of creativity when you have limitations, I feel.
Absolutely. So again, for me, coming out of the bigger side of the business and wanting the small part of the business to matter, that's why I had to go and make a reality feature. And I had some really great people from the Sunscreen Film Festival, gave that film its first break. He put it in the festival, kind of created its own genre, because a reality feature couldn't compete with a high budget feature film, and it shouldn't. It should just be recognized as kind of like first filmmaker's honest attempt at creating an hour and 20-minute long feature film. Like, that was the goal. Like, fill it up, own it, score it, present it to the public, and get your kudos.
Wow, that's really unique. I've never really heard that from anyone besides you, actually.
And I have many people who have now done this with me. So after Alone, we did 4 more, and then there was an actual 6th one made without us involved at all. And that was actually done during COVID in a hospital, and the reality was people were dying from COVID in the hospital. And the filmmaker was a respiratory therapist, and that's the reality he knew, and that's the reality feature he made. Many people know about this path, but it's not, obviously, this is just so everyone understands, this is one of the first official interviews I've been willing to do in my life. And I did a 52-page EPK to kind of get my life together in my own mind and realize what I'd share and what I wouldn't. And being able to guide people, being able to tell people about what I do, it used to be very personal, one-on-one with clients. And now I'm at that place where I really understand my narrative, and I'm ready to tell a large group of people, or even speak to a large group of people, about the simple steps of being able to create a feature film, and basically not lose everything you had in doing so. There's a nice new Big Wheel, that would be a short reality feature. and then a little tricycle, that would be a reality feature. And then you could have a bike, but with training wheels. That's my next film. Those are hybrid features. And then after that, you're riding the bike, and that's just your normal SAG ultra low budget, $350,000. And then you move up to like 10 speed, that would be like a $3 million feature.
You've launched several initiatives over the years, like Metropolitan Society, MYC Consulting, Dire Management, Liquid Lit Productions, Reality Feature, and the New Hollywood Deal. Can you tell us about these different initiatives and how they help the filmmaker?
Absolutely, and I love the one you said last, the New Hollywood Deal. So the New Hollywood Deal is something that I'm announcing now. And I think I just had a magazine cover come out, Filmmaker Magazine, and it says the announcement of the New Hollywood Deal. So that's a business model for hybrid features all the way up to 3.3 million sweet spot feature films. The hybrid feature is important because it's a low budget feature that you sell. So the reality feature, you don't sell it. You go to festivals, you build your knowledge, you get your accolades, and then you get ready to do a hybrid. A hybrid has a budget. I'm not going to get into all the specifics of that, but if anyone wants to know, you guys give me a call. But the bottom line is the New Hollywood Deal leverages against the industry standard deal, and it puts equity-based shares into a reality. Now that we have like blockchain technology and other ways to look in and know the numbers, basically an audit at any time, there are payout systems that can keep track of all that. So another thing that we're announcing now is a centrifugal payout system. And that is opposed to the waterfall payout system in the industry standard, where the top-down approach. With the centrifugal payout system, we're talking about from the center and equally divided simultaneously. So that's where we're at now. The next big step in my career is something that I can't wait to announce at the American Film Market wrap party that we do every year. That's going to be later in November. But let me tell you the things that get you to the New Hollywood Deal. So Metropolitan Society, back in those 10 years of charity, in 1998 in the East Village of New York, that was the first time that we were doing mixers. And they were film and fashion and music mixers for the up and coming to meet the higher ups. And in those events, oftentimes actors would be singing and the singers would be trying to figure out how they get in films, and everybody was, getting in each other's business.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It was great fun. And we do it to this day, like the AF Film Rap Party is a Metropolitan Society Film Fashion Music Mixer. But what that would do is bring people together, and then I'd meet them and I'd say, hey, I'd love to talk to you about whatever you're up to, and that's where MYC Consulting began, because when I just spoke with them, giving them advice or telling them things I knew that were serviceable bits of information, it would help them. And then I built credits and stuff from that. After that, though, Dire Management is an advisory committee of artists representing artists. And the interesting part about that is anytime I didn't have the answer, not the answer, but an answer. I don't ever have the answer, but I always have an acceptable answer. If I don't, I'll go to another person in the committee in this Dire Management, and we'll manage to come up with a serviceable bit of information for whoever I'm consulting at the time. And then beyond that is Liquid Lit Productions, and anything I've ever created, that's what I do with Liquid Lit Productions. It's basically where I file any work I've done, including the modeling and the commercials back in the day. That company's 20-something years old now.
So how do you manage all of this?
It's the same stuff. It's all a circle. If you go around that circle after Liquid Lit Productions, you're back at the New Hollywood Deal. Why do you need the New Hollywood Deal? To leverage against the industry standard deal. So the industry is very powerful, and I'm trying to help independent people have a voice and make a film. So I need a shield and a sword for them. I need something to block the attacks and something to strike forward with so that they can advance in their careers. And so if you look at it, it's just like what I am in the creative side. I'm a director, but I've got to know everybody's roles in order to direct properly. My father always said to me, never stretch yourself too thin. And I said, hey, Dad, I'm a director, so don't worry about it. I got to know everything. Now, as the leader, creator of a company that manages to help everyone get one step forward in their career, any bit of knowledge that I know will help someone somewhere, somehow. So I can't get stretched too thin. I just keep going around the same track. And those are my knowledge compartments. And I sit at the center and I run the thing. And if I need a vacation, I'll have someone else come and run the thing for me, right? Maybe you're up for that job next time.
Next time, soon. So what advice would you give to filmmakers as they consider the path of becoming a filmmaker and navigating in Hollywood?
I would say if they see this interview, get a hold of me at mycagnew@gmail.com. And I would say submit an email to me and let me talk to you about your journey, what your voice is, what information you want to get out. If you just want to be a Hollywood bigwig, go do it. Go to USC, go work for a big studio and start at the bottom and work your way to the top. And if you make it through all that competition, you'll end up the leader of a studio. And in the middle of that, if you're not totally indie and you're not totally studio, then you just go and you live the life and you see what happens. All I can advise is that you don't think you're going to get somewhere by involving yourself in crazy, creepy, weird stuff. Because I think Hollywood's full of that, and you guys watch out for all that stuff.
You believe in the power of low-budget production with high production value as a key success in getting started in the film industry. Can you give us some examples of how to do that or what that could mean?
Sure. So we mentioned reality features, we mentioned hybrid features, but you guys might have heard me say the 3.3 million sweet spot. And I believe if you're going to really do well, you need to make a film that's around $8 million. And Sean Baker just won the Academy Award with the film that was around $6 million. I believe the new $6 million or $8 million film is 3.3 million sweet spot. And I believe you need to have some names, which you can get. I believe you portion that money out so that your production is only a third of that budget. And I believe that the production value on that, it needs to look 2 or 3 times better than the money you spent. And with an $8 million film, if you do a really great job with a great cast, great script, great everything, if you're just great, an $8 million film can make $100 million. So, is everybody going to be great? No, but can you be just good enough? Yes, you can. And if you're just good enough, you should break even. And breaking even in this business is a success, and you can move forward from there. You can go make another film. You're a financeable filmmaker at that point, right? But look, here's another number that's nice. If you make a $3 million film that looks like an $8 million film, and it does decent, that's 3 times, and that's $24 million. So that's the real goal. Can you make a film for $3 million that looks like an $8 million production, and let it go out and just do its job, which is make 3 times its money, which is $24 million. You could retire. You could make that one film and be like, thank you.
That's probably the dream for many aspiring filmmakers.
It is for me. I would love to just be able to make one movie that the world gets to see, and I focus all my energy on my niche, my message, my voice in all of my works. So no matter which one gets out to the world, it's basically the same message in all of them, right? And when I'm consulting others or developing projects, I'm always looking for that voice or that niche or that message that particular artist is getting out. And I don't try to change anything they do creatively. I try to help them get all the factoids in place so they can do a real production. But I need to see that they have a message. That's what inspires me to want to help them.
Wow, that's really great. Yeah. If you had a magic...
Or it's really just good enough. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead. I love how you get super serious when you ask your questions. It makes me nervous.
Well, this one is, if you had a magic wand that you could wave to change one thing about Hollywood, what would it be?
Wow. I would like Hollywood to be like old Hollywood. Mickey Rooney's son, his youngest son, is Jimmy Rooney. Jimmy Rooney met me and said that I remind him of old Hollywood. And I said, that's funny because I have the new Hollywood deal. But if everything's just cyclical, then maybe the new Hollywood deal is just coming full circle and bringing the community back to what it used to be, which is a bunch of artists who wanted to help each other make creations. right?
Right.
And so if I could wave a magic wand, if I could make anything happen in Hollywood, I would want everyone to just be a little more kind with each other for real. Not just acting kind because it gets you places, but actually feel that love in your heart for other people's creations. And okay, realize that that would make them have love in their hearts for your creation, right? So, yeah, that's an interesting question.
You have mentioned that you have an equilibrium disorder. How have you navigated a demanding career with that?
I have Meniere's disease. And Meniere's disease is something that takes away your equilibrium. Meniere's disease was actually more difficult for me to deal with than even the bullet. The bullet was very intense, but a short-lived experience. Whereas the Meniere's disease, it was 3 months of being dizzy, having vertigo, throwing up, passing out, losing all your strength, and maybe never surviving. But I lived through it. Just even thinking about it's a lot for me. So if I'm kind of stalling out here, it's because just reliving that is intense. But the thing about Meniere's disease is it's with you your whole life. So it was always there back when Lee Daniels was managing me and those Kino flow lights were stopping me in auditions and the stress. It was impacting me my whole life. Even when I was young, we used to think I had the flu, but I didn't. I had equilibrium disorder, and I got dizzy, and it was just like the flu, but it wasn't. So it's a very difficult disease, but I want to be very honest. I love the disease because I've found a way through the disease to continue not only making projects myself and consulting others and making their projects, but I've embraced the whole world of handy-capable people. I have a great client in France, Rama, and she is a truly handicapped filmmaker. She's fantastic. Her handy-capable situation is much more difficult than mine. She is completely in a chair, and she has to deal with very severe things. So when you join that community, it's strange, but your power grows because you're focused on something else you have to overcome. And the main thing I love about it is now I know what it is. Could you imagine having something wrong with you and not know what it is?
Yeah.
So back when I was with Lee Daniels, I always thought I'm not a great actor. I forget my lines, I get nervous. I even shake and cry. It was that bad sometimes, really fish out of water experience. But now understanding that I was just really fighting off a severe disease and still managing to live this life, now I'm kind of proud of myself to realize in hindsight. And I said before, I'd be more than willing to work with any of my friends on any of their films because the relaxed state I'm in, it kind of nullifies the disease altogether. And that's when I do want to be on camera, when I'm helping one of the clients that I have that I'm consulting or developing.
Very inspiring.
Yeah.
You also made a speech to the United Nations about the handicap.
That's true. That was for Rama Rushdie. I think the great message there was we're all handicapped permanently, intermittently, or temporarily. And I had to find, my voice, my message for that speech to help her with her app. And I think she was seeking funding for the app. The app is amazing, by the way. It's called the Good Samaritan app. And thinking it through, and that was right when I was coming out of the disease, the severe 3 months of the life-threatening situation that it put me through. When I came out of that, she wanted me to do that message, and it was great because I had to think through it all and understand. And yeah, intermittently, permanently, or temporarily handicapped, that's 8 million people on this planet. We will all be handicapped in one way or another in our lifetime.
In our lifetime, definitely.
Yeah.
It's good to have empathy for others because of the fact that we're all, limited in our lives.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, this is getting real serious. I'm eager to see where we go next.
Well, just a couple more questions for you, actually.
Okay.
Is there a spiritual North Star that guides you in navigating this industry and life in general?
Yes. See, you're gonna be really good at this, because now I'm like, oh. I think in the world right now, if we put too much into our entity or our higher North Star guiding light, and if we put that over anyone else's, it makes the world too segregated.
Right.
But everything in spirituality that's affected me, it's been very personal. And so I do believe that we all have some guiding light, whatever we call that. That's up to each person on their journey. I have mine, and mine says that I get to have a soulmate and I get to hold their hand. And to me, knowing that, or thinking I know it, but I really feel like I know it because I experienced it with the bullet, I do feel like, yes, I came back. I said, I gotta go back, and I'm back, and I'm here, and I'm not living for myself anymore. I'm really like living for anyone that wants me to live for them too. Because that's kind of the exchange for me.
Wow.
It's can I help you in any way? And that already helps me, right? It already helps me just to have the community.
Well, that's really amazing.
Yeah, and like I said, you're not gonna make me do any of that. So.
Okay. What are you currently working on? What are your plans in the future?
Currently working on the Karate Nerd, the proof of concept for hybrid features, the 30,000 to 120,000 features that can make up to 200 grand and get all those future film creators their next level in their filmmaking after they do a short reality feature and a reality feature. I need to make sure that hybrids are accepted by the community at large so that when these people follow what I've done, there's a place for them with those projects. And then I think the big deal right now is the New Hollywood deal and starting to speak with everyone about it. So just in general, the New Hollywood deal, just again, is leveraged against the industry standards, and it puts equity shares in the mix of the business model or the production plan, right? It gives everybody credit where credit is due. Not only thank you, but also in a shareholder situation too. Yeah.
Good. All right. You mentioned this earlier, but how can people get in touch with you?
Great. At MYC Agnew is Instagram. I have a very big LinkedIn following, but I don't really use that. I love people just to email me, mycagnew@gmail.com. Very simple. And I check all those and I follow up. And you know, not everybody in the world is calling me up, asking me to help them in their film career. So the truth is I'll take on about 4 new clients every 6 months. The Cannes Film Festival market is a time where I'm doing my top level business. And at the AF Film in November, American Film Market, is when I'm really looking for the diamonds in the rough. I love being in LA because everybody in America gets drawn to LA, and then I find them and I say, hey, you know, the rest of the world's a real good place to make movies.
Yeah, we met at AFM.
Yeah. No, but AF Film is really important. It'd be great if they had a festival attached to it, but it's really the market, and it's really the B+ is like the main level. And that's kind of the avenue for future film creators as well. And so I think that's why myself and AFM are a good partnership at least once a year. You know, I don't even really go to LA that much anymore. There's just so many places around the world that you can make movies these days. It's like, and there's so many great people with their own voice like you from different parts of the world. So I'm eager to meet, like I said, hold 4 new clients. I'll meet 10, I'll meet 20, but I'll find 4 amazing, and every 6 months, I'll work with them, and then eventually we got to get them to the point where they're making movies, because I have to do that too. So if I'm not helping the clients do that, I'm not getting any closer, right? So eventually, we all got to just go make our own movies.
On that note, that concludes our discussion with MYC Agnew.
We made it.
We made it, yeah.
I can put the hat on now.
You can put the hat on now. This is a wonderful exchange of information. Be sure to get in touch with him. If you are an aspiring filmmaker, he's the guy to talk to. So for that, I'll say goodbye for now, and good luck with your filmmaking endeavors.
Good luck, everybody. Thanks for having me. It was awesome.